A diamond is forever. 4 words. Written in 1947 by a copywriter at a Philadelphia advertising agency. She was briefed at 9 in the morning and had the line by lunch. It was not her best work, she thought. Her colleagues agreed. The client almost rejected it. That line is now considered the most successful advertising slogan of the 20th century. It created a global industry worth $80 billion a year. It convinced entire generations that a clear stone dug from the ground is the only acceptable way to prove romantic love. And the woman who wrote it, a copywriter named Frances Goretti, never married. She never received a diamond engagement ring. She spent her entire career writing about an emotion she sold to the world but never experienced herself. That is the story behind the diamond engagement ring. It is not a tradition. It is a campaign. Before 1938, diamond engagement rings were uncommon. In the late 1930s, diamond engagement rings were still far from the default in America. They were not rare, they were not valuable enough to justify the price. And they had no particular connection to marriage. That changed because one company decided it should. De Beers Consolidated Mines controlled roughly 80% of the world's diamond supply by the 1930s. They had a problem. The Great Depression had collapsed demand. Diamond prices were falling. People were selling stones, not buying them. The company was sitting on a mountain of inventory that nobody wanted. So De Beers did something that no mining company had done before. They hired an advertising agency, not to sell diamonds, to sell an idea. The agency was N.W. Ayer & Son, based in Philadelphia. Their assignment was not to market a product, it was to shift human behavior. The internal strategy memo from 1938 stated the objective clearly: strengthen the association of diamonds with romance. Make every man in America believe that the size of the diamond reflects the depth of his love. And make every woman believe that a proposal without a diamond is not really a proposal at all. They could not advertise diamonds directly. De Beers had no retail stores. They did not sell to consumers. They sold rough stones to cutters and dealers. So the campaign had to change culture itself. N.W. Ayer placed diamonds in movies. They worked with Hollywood studios to ensure that actresses were photographed wearing diamond rings in romantic scenes. They planted stories in newspapers and magazines about celebrity engagements, always mentioning the size and brilliance of the diamond. They created a lecture circuit that sent speakers into high schools across America to talk to young women about the importance of diamond engagement rings. And they established an unwritten rule that would reshape consumer behavior for the next century. The diamond should cost 2 months' salary. That rule has no basis in tradition, no basis in economics, no basis in romance. It was a marketing guideline disguised as a social norm. And it worked so well that most people alive today believe it has always existed. By 1941, diamond sales in the United States had increased 55%. By the end of the 1940s, the diamond engagement ring had gone from a minority practice to a cultural expectation, and Frances Goretti had written the line that sealed it: "A diamond is forever." The genius of that phrase is not literary, it is psychological. It does 2 things at once. First, it positions the diamond as eternal, linking it to the permanence of love. Second, and this is the dark part, it removes the diamond from the resale market. If a diamond is forever, you should never sell it. If you should never sell it, then there has never been a strong, culturally normalized second-hand diamond market the way most buyers imagine. And if there is no second-hand market, then nobody ever discovers the uncomfortable truth about diamonds. They are not rare, they are controlled. De Beers did not discover scarcity, it manufactured scarcity. The company sat on enormous reserves and released just enough stones each year to maintain prices. For decades, De Beers operated what was effectively a global monopoly, buying up surplus diamonds from other mines to prevent oversupply from collapsing the market. At their peak, they controlled distribution of over 80% of the world's rough diamonds. The result is a product that loses most of its value the moment you buy it. Walk into a jeweler with a diamond ring and ask them to buy it back. You will be offered 30 to 50% of what you paid, sometimes less. There is no liquid market for secondhand diamonds because the entire system was designed to ensure you never try to sell one. A diamond is forever is not a romantic statement. It is an anti-resale policy. In 1967, De Beers turned to Japan, a country with no tradition of diamond engagement rings whatsoever. Within 13 years, 60% of Japanese brides wore diamonds. De Beers replicated the playbook in Brazil, Germany, and eventually China. In each case, the strategy was the same. Do not advertise a product. Advertise a behavior. Make the diamond not a choice but an obligation. By the time the Federal Trade Commission began investigating De Beers for antitrust violations, the damage was already cultural. In 2000, De Beers pleaded guilty to price-fixing charges in the United States. They paid a $10 million fine. The global diamond engagement ring market at the time was worth over $60 billion. The fine was a rounding error. And now the system faces a new threat it cannot advertise away. Lab-grown diamonds are chemically identical to mined diamonds, optically identical, physically identical, and available for a fraction of the price. The diamond industry has spent millions trying to convince consumers that lab-grown diamonds are somehow lesser. They use words like real, natural, and authentic. But the science does not support a distinction. A lab-grown diamond is a diamond. The only difference is that no one had to dig a mile into the earth to find it. So, what is a diamond engagement ring really? It is not a tradition. What people now treat as tradition was aggressively shaped in the late 1930s by an advertising campaign in Philadelphia. It is not an investment. The resale value collapses the moment you leave the store. It is not rare. The supply has been artificially restricted for over a century by a single company that pleaded guilty to price fixing. A diamond engagement ring is a marketing campaign that became a cultural requirement. A manufactured emotion sold as an ancient ritual. And the most successful example in history of a corporation telling millions of people what love is supposed to look like. 4 words. In 1947, changed everything. The woman who wrote them worked on the De Beers account for 25 years. She submitted a diamond is forever every single year. It was rejected internally every single year, and every single year it ran anyway. Frances Gerety died in 1999. She was never married. She never wore a diamond ring. And tonight, somewhere in the world, a man is nervously calculating 2 months of his salary, convinced it is the minimum acceptable proof of love. He does not know where that number came from. He does not know it was written in a memo by an advertising executive 80 years ago. He just knows that it feels like the right thing to do.